My name is Tori Etheridge. I'm a physiotherapist who has a focus in working with people who have persistent pain. When we have persistent pain, our nervous system changes quite a bit. So often individuals coming to me who have pain, they've seen many different types of clinicians and specialists, and they've spent quite a while searching for a cause or a reason for their pain. Maybe they've had some answers such as, I've had disc degeneration, or I have a disc bulge, or something along those lines, but nothing that they can pinpoint for an exact reason for their pain and an exact treatment that they can have or do in order to make their pain go away. When we have persistent pain, the nervous system really changes. So you might notice that the pain comes on without warning, or the pain comes on at different times throughout the day, no matter what you're doing. It can be affected by things such as sleep, or stress, or mood. It can also be affected by people around you. You might want to withdraw from activities. You might not want to be doing as much. You might find that sound and noise and light, all those kinds of things bother you a little bit more. We're going to draw out the brain and the nervous system and how it changes with pain. So when we have pain, our brain and our nervous system actually changes so that messages come up to our brain more easily. We don't actually have pain receptors, which is a common misconception. We have danger-sensing nerve cells. So if I were to pinch myself hard enough, a danger-sensing nerve cell would be active. It would send a message up to my spinal cord, up to my brain, and my brain would get the message and it would go, have we been here before? What's going on? How am I feeling? And it makes a decision. Am I safe or am I in danger? If it determines we're in danger, we have pain. If it determines that we're safe, we do not have pain. So pain is actually a decision that's made upon in the brain rather than the output of an activation of a nerve cell. So we have tons of messages coming up our spinal cord into our brain all the time. What we know from the research is that when we have persistent pain, the nervous system actually changes. Our peripheral nerves change and our spinal cord changes so that messages come in more easily and they go up more quickly. When the brain is bombarded with messages that it doesn't necessarily need to have, it's more likely to conclude that we're in danger. So our nervous system becomes more sensitized. It becomes activated more easily when we have persistent pain. We have other changes that can happen too. So if you ever have a smell that you really like and it makes you think of your grandma, for example, a baked pie or some flowers. Smell is an example of an association created with your brain that gives you the image of your grandma, called a neurotag. What actually starts to happen is we start having pain neurotags forming in our brain. So different things can activate our pain. For example, our stress, previous beliefs, previous experiences, expectations, lack of sleep, anxiety, depression, stress, whatever it might be. And all of these things start to link up and join together and form an association and a pattern. So say you have a bad night of sleep, this box gets checked and the entire pain experience forms. You have a day where you're really stressed out, this box checks and the entire pain experience forms. So part of rehabilitation when we're working with persistent pain is to figure out what are the triggers and what are the things in your life that are likely to activate your pain and your protective system. And then what we do is we work to try and calm that down, teach you strategies to overcome that, and help you learn to move better with less pain. So now we're going to talk about what physiotherapy actually does for someone who has persistent pain. Typically when someone comes in, we start with an assessment. And it's not always a typical musculoskeletal assessment that you may have had in the past. We're going to talk about your experience with your pain, when your pain comes on, the pattern and the behavior of it, different things going on in your life at the time of the injury and at the current time right now. And we look at the whole picture. We take a holistic approach and a biopsychosocial model of care. For example, if you were in a car accident and you've had ongoing neck pain for the last 5 years, we would dive into everything that's going on with that pain, all the treatments that you've done to date, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and we'd make a plan to move forward. We'd figure out if your nervous system has shifted into this hyperprotective state and what we can do to bring it back down. We would start by getting you to gradually move, teaching you what pain is safe to move with and what pain might not be safe to move with. We teach you about flare-ups and what might cause your pain to flare up, and how to, over time, reduce the number of flare-ups that you have so that we can learn to do more with less pain. We're going to talk about a hypothetical case of what would happen if you were coming in here with persistent pain. Now, I want you to know that everyone is so different and everyone's pain is completely different, so assessments and treatments are really tailored to the individual's needs. But hypothetically, we want to look at a few different key areas. We want to look at behaviors that you have. Meaning, are you afraid to move? Are you fearful to move? Do you know when you should move, when you shouldn't move? Do you know when you should challenge the pain and when you shouldn't challenge the pain? We want to look at other things as well, such as mood. You know, if you've had pain for a really long time and it's overtaken your life, it's normal and expected for people to have feelings of anxiety, of stress, of depression, of frustration, and of anger. We need to address all of that because we know that it has the ability to cause chemicals to be released from our brain that actually ramp up our pain. We also want to look at your movement. We want to look at how you move. Are you avoiding certain movements or positions? Are you moving in a way that is the best for your body to be moving? Are you moving with protection and breath holding and tension and caution? Are you afraid to move? So we assess all of these different areas and kind of see what's going on and make a plan for you moving forward so that we can get you back to moving how you want to move and doing what you want to do with your life. So if you're having ongoing pain, you've been to multiple different clinicians and specialists, and you're just finding no help and the pain is still overtaking your life, I suggest you come and see us at the Surrey Neuroplasticity Clinic, located across the street from Surrey Memorial Hospital. Our website and phone number are below.